Well, good morning. I'm Marian LaSalle and my co-hosts Russ Johns and Ted Lyman, and we are here today with the Tools, Technology, and Teamwork Show. And we're going to be talking about how to stay in business but not broke.
Yes, I want to know.
That's too funny.
We don't want to be broke. If we're in business, we don't want to be broke. So
we don't want to be broke.
We're going to be talking about that. I'm really excited. So why don't you guys tell the audience a little bit about yourselves? Let's start with Ted.
All right. Well, I'm Ted Lehman. I'm an entrepreneur. I have four businesses that I'm running. One of them is Office in America, as the logo that you see behind me. It is to bring possibilities to your business. OfficeInAmerica.com. Come and visit us, take a look at it, see how we can help you.
Fantastic. And I'm Russ Johns, a partner in crime with Marian LaSalle at Future Media Association. We have Agency 258 that has a focus on streaming live media, digital media, podcasting. So getting your name in the game and broadcasting your message. So we're here today with Ted to find out about staying in business and not being broke. And I love that statement, Ted. And some of the things that we go through in America now is there's so many entrepreneurs. This country was built on entrepreneurs building, starting, growing businesses. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they get started and a lot of businesses don't make it. They have to close down. So, how do you define the business and the entrepreneurs and give us your take on that and how you define it?
Yeah, see, a lot of businesses, they start off thinking that I have the money, I have the product to sell, and I'm starting making sales. And many times to them, that is the business itself. What people don't really have before they start a business is proper training of what business is. So there's unfortunately, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, or startups, all they hear from their colleagues and network is get the money, get your product, and start selling, and that's it. And that is something that would allow people to be in business, and yet, if they don't watch out their expenses versus their revenue, that's how they stay broke, even though they have a business for years.
Right.
Sometimes they even forget that they're supposed to sell. They just have a product and a website, and they think people should come to see them, right?
That's true.
I am so fantastic. People should be knocking my door down. What's up?
Now, what's up with that? I have a product. I should be able to sell this all day long.
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about the process and how we can avoid this financial challenge we're talking about. So, they start out business. I don't know what the average is, 2 or 3 years, where they start a business, they have a product, they have an idea, and they say, I'm going to launch this idea. I'm going to take my 401k. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go out here and do this thing. And, they put everything together. Like we said, okay, no crickets. Nobody shows up. So what steps can we take? What do we need to think about as business owners that can help us avoid that trap?
Sure. In this show right here specifically, what I'd like to talk about is to not be broke, although you have a business. And the reason why I feel like talking about this today is because I know a lot of business owners who are selling great, bringing in revenues, and yet they can't pay their bills. And what comes down to it is their revenue, although it's great, their expenses are still larger. So they have great big offices. They have a lot of company trucks, a lot of company cars. They travel in business class only. They're allergic to economy class. And, and the pens that they use must be Mont Blanc. Otherwise, it hurts their fingers. Those kind of things. And the reason why I say that is because of this. I have hang out with a lot of my friends who are in oil and gas industries.
Did we lose Ted for a moment?
We
Great.
lost him for
They
a
know how,
second.
the net did not know how to really build the business, how to really make it run, how to really make it profitable. That's when they come in and say exactly what I said. Yeah, I have to drive Rolls Royce. I have to have a large high-rise building. I have to have private jet. I have to haves actually is not a need of the company. And that's exactly how a business can be so powerful and so great and yet broke.
Yeah. Well, they have, and I think, I don't know if you've heard this term, fake it till you make it. There's this lie that people tell themselves, and, I've been caught in the same thing, look so successful, look so professional, look so elegant that, everybody thinks you're successful. So they're going to buy from you because they want to be successful too. Right.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
While you're starving to death at the same time. And I just think that people, especially today with the economy, the market, everything that's going on in technology, there's a big push in technology for a lean startup. Test it out, send it out with the minimal viable product, and don't worry about all of the infrastructure that has to go in through it. We've seen crowdfunding. There's so many other options that you don't have to take that approach to, building everything and making it perfect before you launch your sales team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
And so that's another way that we can actually,
Okay,
think
so
about business.
let's figure out why business owners feel that they have to look and travel and be in, the Cadillacs, right? Or I guess you'd call it the Lexuses now, right?
Or Mercedes.
Well, because if we don't look successful, then what people might not hire us. Isn't that where their mind goes?
Absolutely.
We've got to look successful in order to have people hire us.
Well, you have to promote the confidence that, how can I sell you something that I'm not doing myself, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Literally, there are times, though, especially, and I'm thinking from a technology perspective, you're probably looking at it from an oil and gas perspective. I don't think there's that much difference. The systems we have in business are still the same, Ted, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, if I may add to that, looking professional is not the same as looking expensive. And what I meant by that is, the first time, I think if I'm not mistaken, if I remember this correctly, like the first of my set of ties and suit was from Salvation Army, and there's no shame to it. I look professional, I look good. And back then I needed it because I was ministering in this one church. I was the only one wearing a tie and a suit. And one of the elders say, you guys, you guys should look professional like this, like Ted. And to me, really, it did not take much, And back then, tie was about 50 cents a piece. It looked professional. It looks professional, and yet we don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for. And today, if you go to Neiman Marcus, that's how much it costs. And looking professional, you're absolutely right, Russ. Looking professional is to allow people to know that the product you're getting from me is going to be off the same. It's going to have this kind of quality and this kind of professionalism. And the customer service after you buy from us, we're not running away. We're here professionally to take care of any kind of concerns you have.
Okay, that's what Laura is saying in the sidebar. She's saying, our quality needs to be there, right? Not necessarily the way we look or how we
quality over image.
There you go.
You could still have a professional attire. You could still dress. You could still be professional without being expensive. That's what you're saying, Ted.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right.
Don't go out of business trying to look a certain way and have the best of the best. Make sure your quality's good and you look halfway decent. And you look like you've had a shower in the last week, right?
That's right. Yeah. And what is it? Like Mark Zuckerberg, is a good example. He likes just wearing casual dress, so on and so forth. And yeah, a lot of the critiques out there is like, this guy is a CEO and he is dressed like that. And one day, Mark Zuckerberg realized that, it's not about him. It's about really being respectful to others as well. So last year, I think last year, or a little bit over a year ago, when he visited Asia, wherever he went, he dressed their traditional local uniform in there. So when he went to Indonesia, actually, I mean, he actually gave up his T-shirt and hoodie, and he actually wore a suit and a tie, believe it or not, to meet the president.
Wow.
And me watching it, I was like, wow, this person actually has grown and understood that looking professional is not about just you, but also is about the people that you visit with, the people that you serve, the people that you respect too.
He also learned the language, as I recall.
Yeah, Chinese, actually. Last year, he accomplished that. I mean, he spoke Chinese in an entire crowd while he was visiting China.
Yeah.
It was great.
I thought that was amazing. So what are some examples? You've got some examples that I'm sure in history that you can actually share that have, this expenses versus revenue model. What are some ideas that we could share with our audience today, since it's about them anyway, right? It's about our audience.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Henry Ford is a great example. He is the father of manufacturing. It's called just-in-time manufacturing. And he did that. He did great. He was able to produce a car. Back then, his factory was able to produce only like once a week. And then after he did the conveyor just-in-time manufacturing, he was able to produce one every hour. So that was incredible.
That's a huge difference.
Yes.
Exactly. So he did that, and he thought, if we did this, then we can make more money. The faster we can produce a car, the faster we can bring in revenue. And he kept on doing that. He kept on improving his manufacturing facility. And then later on, he grew his facility, become bigger and bigger and bigger. And he tried to, instead of outsourcing things, he's trying to do it himself in-house, and just kept on doing that until one day, after his son passed away, he actually got into trouble. He had to lay off people, and he had to cut down manufacturing. And he did not take a look at the point where expenses is not eating up the revenue. I mean, he lost track. He lost it all, and he finally had to fold. He actually had to tune down his aggressiveness.
Because he was manufacturing, he was exceeding demand, or his costs on his manufacturing process exceeded his revenues?
The cost. Well, it's a little bit of both, but mainly it's because of the cost is exceeding the revenue. Remember, technology, as both of you guys know it, is never the same. They're
daily, it changes.
Every day. Yeah, they're new every day. They're new every second. So when Ford produced the car, finally there is GM, there is Chrysler, there is Dodge, which take away the market share from Ford. And now here's a good thing about Ford is that he realized that he was broke. He was in business, he was making revenue, but he was broke.
Yeah.
So, and this thing here, eventually, it comes down to a very hard decision for business owners to deal with that.
Well, it's very difficult because, some of the things you built and the processes you engaged in, and, the technology that you've invested money in, if it's not, we talked about this last hour is what's the ROI on your effort?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with time. And I know Henry Ford, some of the stories, he used to pay his employees, if they could remove one step of the process, to increase their efficiency, he would pay them a substantial sum of money.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see that whole industry go. The same thing's taking place in, what I call, the Industrial Revolution is past, and now that's the digital revolution. And the same thing's taking place in how quickly we can iterate in technology and find out what's working and what's not working. And just because we're developing increasing revenue, there's still a lot of technology businesses that are getting numbers, huge numbers, yet they're still not making money.
Okay, I have a question along this line. Let's say you're a business owner and you realize that you're broke. Okay, you're not doing something right. Do you reach out to your peers? Do you hire a coach? How do you come to grips with what is going wrong if you don't really know? Because let's face it, sometimes we're so wrapped up in the bubble, we don't know what's happening. Who do we trust? How do we get out of it? How do we figure it out?
The most important thing of being a business owner is to know that you are in charge. And when I say you're in charge, it's not like when I tell my 8-year-old son, Troy, you're in charge. I mean, he'll be happy. It's like, yes, I'm in charge. You do this, you do that, but it's more than that. Being in charge means you need to be able to see the pulse of your business. You need to know how healthy your business is. So if you, and first of all, you need to see that. And after you see that, you can tell that you need help, for example. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, if you can't solve it yourself, go to not just somebody you trust, but somebody with the very experience. Yeah, I mean, I love my mom forever, but I would not ask her for business advice. I mean, she's not. I trust her, she trusts me, but I would not ask her for business advice. So go to people who are successful, maybe a consultant in business who understands how the game is played. And really, at the end of the day, just like what you said, sometimes we get too busy to it. This great technology is available for our business. This third-party companies can do this for us. And sometimes I feel like a lot of business owners can become like flies looking at purple lights. I mean, they're just buzzing into it, not really knowing whether that's good for them or not.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that we're here on Tools, Technology, and Teamwork Talk Show with Ted Lehman, and we talk about business. We talk about some of the things that are happening in business, the challenges, and if you've just joined us or you are just watching this show in an archive or on our site, we're live every Tuesday at 9:30 Central Time. So, Ted, this is it's amazing to talk about this, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are challenged by this topic. And one of the things that Mary and I have discovered that's really helped us benefit in our growth and our strategy and getting outside the bubble is a mastermind group. Mentors and masterminding is something that you kind of alluded to. And I think, talk to somebody, your peer group, somebody that can give you a fresh perspective on what's going on. Because we sometimes as business owners, at least for myself, we're so involved in it, we're so engaged in the business that we're not working on the business.
That's right.
Yeah. So how are some techniques or some ideas that you've shared with others that might be valuable to think through as we're looking for help and we're looking for assistance? What would you consider, or what tools would you use, or how would you go about doing that?
I like reading business books and also watching like business shows like The Profit, and back then it was The Apprentice, and also Beyond the Tank, great businesses. And if you watch enough of those TV series, you finally realize that any mentors can tell the business owners, you cannot do that. You cannot go to AMC every day and spend $135 just to relieve your stress for the day. I mean, you can't do that every day when your business is losing $1,000 a day. And sometimes it's tough, and yet is mathematical.
Mhm.
But the only one that can really make it happen is yourself. It's your
Gosh,
own.
Ed, I am so glad you mentioned those shows
Yeah.
because I've been watching them. And one of the things that I've been noticing a lot is that when the mentor is coming in or the team of people that are trying to help you and they're pointing out something that you're doing obviously wrong, the business owner goes, this is my baby. I can't change. I don't want to change anything. This is my thing. My logo is like my, I'm stuck to it. You can't take that away from me because
There's an emotional attachment, not a logical attachment.
yes. And you almost have to beat them over the head in order for them to see that, that's being illogical, right? So
Right.
Well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and not getting any results out of it, so
That's right. Yeah.
it's insane to think about, and I've been guilty of the same thing. I've had ups and downs, and I've had, startups that have never generated any revenue, and I thought it was a brilliant idea, and I invested hundreds of hours on it, and nobody put their hand up and said, hey, I want to pay for this, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. So you have to get outside your bubble, and you have to look at what others are looking for, not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely critical. So it's amazing to think that, if you're not asking for help and you're not looking at investing in your own future in education, I think that's something that you need to.
Well, what I noticed in these shows is even though they've asked for help, like they literally will have these guys come in and they've asked for help. They know they're going into bankruptcy, and yet they're still resistant of change.
Yeah.
What is that?
Right.
It's denial, and it's not a river.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what this show is all about. It's actually to help people understand that you can have a business, and although doing good or not doing so good, you can do it. You can actually control that to where you are not broke. And really, I mean, come to think of it, last year when the oil and gas price just kept on plummeting, the moguls of oil and gas companies, they have no choice but to lay off people. And because of oil and gas turned down, I read a report from Bloomberg, 250,000 people got laid off because of that in our country alone. So
a 250,000 people were laid off as a result of the downturn in the oil industry.
That's right. Yes. And now, if you ask us, what are these CEOs doing? Don't they have any fraction of humanity in them, fraction of morale? What's going on with these people? How are they going to eat? How are they going to live? How are they going to pay their bills? Of course, they have all that. I mean, they're human like us. They have feelings too, the CEOs, these business owners. But if they don't lay off those people, they actually will bring down everybody else with them. And instead of 250,000 people getting laid off, it's going to be millions of people getting laid off.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough choice to make, but it has to be done for your business to survive.
Absolutely. And change is constant. I mean, we're not going to be staying in the same place at the same time. The assembly lines from Henry Ford, the typewriter industry, some of these, the way oil and gas is, right now, we've optimized the production cycle so efficiently that we can create gas very, very well, very, very quickly from raw crude, right?
Right.
And so that production cycle is very short, so it doesn't take very much to have an abundance of fuel. And if the rest of the world is dumping crude onto the market, that doesn't help it at all. So.
Right, exactly. And also, one more thing that I like to mention to people is way a long time ago, before computer age, businesses went well. In other words, you do not have to have $5,000 worth of laptop. You do not have to have thousands of dollars worth of office rent. And I just want to put in parentheses right here, go take a look at officeofamerica.com. We can help you out with your business. But
Exactly.
and what I really want to tell people is that you guys do not have to have technology, because listen, at the end of the day, you need to count like your return of investment. In other words, if you can do it yourself. You don't need to hire an accountant to do your expensive accountant to do your tax. You don't have to hire mentors that cost you $200 an hour. If you can actually go out there and learn it on the internet or go to the library is still good.
Yeah.
And really, you guys do not have to have a lot of money to spend on your business or to get your business going. And Russ and Marianne, I mean, there's no shame to it. I think right now we don't have personal butlers to cater our food or.
Excuse me, would you get me another cup of coffee, please? Thank you.
Right, exactly. And it's okay, right? I mean, we need to make that decision that for us to be able to allow our business to grow, we need to make those kind of tough decisions. And if it means work, that's what work means. We have to work.
Work.
You mean there's no
Cut
shortcut?
down your expenses.
Sometimes you just have to do the work, right?
Exactly. That's what work means.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut down on your expenses and get to work, people. Russ, you and I need to do that. Ted, you too. Everybody get back to work.
Get back to work.
That's right.
Hey, this has been very productive. And like I said, the show is every week, Tuesday, 9:30 Central Time. Ted Lehman from Office in America and other businesses, Alga Processing. And we want to invite you to join us every single week and learn something new about your business process, and what you can do to grow and enhance and educate yourself on what it takes to be successful. So thank you, Ted, for being here. It's always great to, tools, technology, and teamwork is a place that we can all learn something from.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Marianne and Russ. Yeah. And Full Service Technology, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bye now.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Have a good